JavaScript promises are here, and I promise that you'd love them because they're going to help you write cleaner code and free your apps from the dreaded callback hell. This video is going to be all about promises, and as a bonus, I'm going to show you the best way to write asynchronous code in JavaScript in my own opinion, so you need to stick to the end in order to see this. My name is Confident, and I'm a developer advocate at AppSmith. Without any delay, let's get started. Alright, so this is the application we are going to be making use of in this promises tutorial, and taking a look at the application, we actually would not be using any widgets. We don't have any widgets on the canvas, and we would not be using any widgets throughout this video. Right now we'll be using API calls, and right here we have 3 APIs. All of these APIs are the same, so we can go check out what we have in API 2. You can see that this is an echo API, which means that it actually returns data sent to the API. So I'm just going to run this for example and show you. So take a look at the body section. We have an empty body. That's because we are not passing any body right now. So it's just an echo API that returns back whatever is sent to it. And the same is duplicated for API 1 and also API 3. So in order to get started, let's create a JavaScript file, and I'm going to show you how you previously had to write asynchronous code in AppSmith. So let's call these call APIs. Alright, and to show you how you previously had to write APIs in AppSmith, you actually had to use a callback chain, which people also named the callback hell because it's so messy, it's very difficult to read, and I'm just going to show you how the experience previously was. So for example, what we want to do right now is call each of the APIs, API 1, API 2, API 3, and pass the response of one API into the next call, and at the end of the chain, we want to show a message of the output result. So let's write some code to do that. So this is going to be return api1.run. all right, and here we need to pass some parameters into the run function. The first parameter is the callback for when it succeeds. The second parameter is the callback for when it fails, and the third parameter right here is the data that is passed to the API call. So let's pass an object that has a key of text and a string of my. Alright, this looks good. So when this call is successful, let's go on to continue the chain, and we would go to run API 2. So this is going to be api2.run, and we would need the response from API 1 in the API 2 run we are configuring. So this is going to be res1, that is the response from API 1, and we need to use this right here. So we can pass dummy callbacks right now, and then for the params of API 2, we will need to use the data coming from res1. So this is text, and we would do res1.body.text. all right, and then we can append more data to it. So let's say for example name is, all right, that looks good. And we similarly need to make another call, which will be the last call we'll be making to API 3. So this is going to be api3.run, and as you already guessed, we need to have a callback for the success case. We need to have another callback for the error case, and lastly, we can also pass in some data. So the data we'll be passing into API 3 would be the response from API 2. So let's just call this res2 so that it is easy for us to keep track of. And then right here for the text parameter, this is going to be coming from res2.body.text, and we can also append some data here. Say for example, John. All right. Last thing we want to do here is actually display a message or show a message of the output from the last step. So this is going to be show alert, and for the message, this is going to be coming from res2. all right, so this is going to be res3.body.text. all right, this looks good. So we can actually try this out by clicking on the run button. So let's run this. And you can see that we have the text here saying, my name is John. So we've been able to chain all of these API calls and pass data from one API call to the next and to the next, and then to when the data is displayed. So this is previously how you had to write asynchronous code in AppSmith. This is really buggy. It's really messy. It's difficult to read, as you can see. Imagine you are handed over this code and you're asked to maintain it. It's going to be really hard. That's why this is called callback hell. And there are a couple of other issues with this approach. And one being that you have to handle each of the errors for the API calls independently. So API 1, for example, has its error handler. This has to be handled separately from the error handler of API 2, and you also have the error handler for API 3, which means you have to handle 3 errors. And imagine adding the code for the error handler right here. It's just going to make this so much messy and very difficult to read. Another issue with the callback method is that it is impossible for you to access variables from an outer scope. For example, I'm going to declare a variable called sname and set this to do, and then I'm going to try to use that in API 3 right here. So let's say plus sname. All right. You should expect that this would work, but it actually doesn't. As you can see, you have an error here saying, I don't know what sname is. That's because it's coming from an outer scope. So this just makes things or life really hard with using the callback method. But actually, there's a better way to do this, and that's with using JavaScript promises. And I promise I'm going to show you this. So let's get into it. I'm going to collapse APIs, call APIs, and then create a second version of this function. So let's say call APIs 2, all right, and this is going to be a function. All right, so let's go into start writing some code. And what I'm going to do right here is start by calling API 1. So I'm going to return API1.run, and the only thing I need to do right here using promises is to pass the data we want sent up to API 1. So this is going to be text, and I'm going to say my, all right, and that's basically all we need to do. Then we can go on to chain more steps on things we want to do. For example, we want to go on to call API 2, and then we want to go on to call API 3, and then we want to show the results on the screen. So let's actually do that. So we can chain more steps by adding a .then, all right, and then we can pass a function to what we want to do next. So this is a callback function of what we want to do next. And this function is going to, by default, have a response from the previous step. So this is going to be res, right? And then we can actually use that data in the next step. So I'm just going to make things really easy and delete all of the extra code I have added here to make the explanation easier. What I actually want to do next is run API2. So this is going to be API2.run. All right, and API2.run would need some parameters, so we need to pass in the text, and the value is going to be coming from the res variable, which is the response from the previous step. So let's actually go to make use of this. So this is res.body.text, and then we can add some data like name is. Now we can actually go on to the next step of the chain. We actually want to go call API 3. So this will be then the response from the previous step. We can actually go make use of this to run API 3. So this is going to be API3.run. All right, and similarly we can use that data right here. So this is text, and this is res.body.text. And we can add in the name right here, John. All right, this looks good. Let's add a final step for showing the results out. We can add a .then, and then the response from the previous step, which is the response from the run of API 3 right here from the previous step. We can use that response to display an alert. So let's do show alert, res.body.text. All right, this looks good. So let's check out API 2 by running it right here. And you can see that we have the same result showing here saying my name is John. And if you compare the code we had from the previous version of the APIs, so I think I'm just going to reduce this a bit. All right, so if you compare the code we had from the previous version of call APIs and call APIs 2, you notice that we actually wrote a lot much less code. And this looks so clean because you can take a look at this and figure out what's going on. The first step is run API 1, the second step is run API 2, the third step is run API 3, the last step right here is show an alert, and it's so much easy to use. And as you already guessed, you can also use variables from the outer scope. So this is going to be const s name, and let's say do. All right, and I can go ahead to use it right here. So this is going to be plus s name, and let's run this. And you can see that we have access to a variable from the outer scope. One other nice feature of promises is that it makes it so much easier to handle errors. I do not need to have separate error handlers for each of the steps right here in the promise chain. I can just have one that handles the errors for any error that may occur in the promise chain. To show you how to configure error handling, I'm just going to quickly add a case for the error handling here. This is going to be a .catch and not a .dem. So this is going to be a .catch, and it's going to catch an error. And what I'm just going to do for my error handling, I'm just going to show a message with the error message. So let's say show alert e.message. All right, that's all I'm going to do. And right now we would not be able to see the errors because everything works. So let's go introduce a bug into our code. So instead of mock API, I'm going to say mock APIs, and I just messed up API 2, for example. And we can go test this out by calling the APIs 2, and you can see we have a message here saying that API 2 failed to execute. That is much cleaner because I did not have the application breaking. I only had to have one error handler, and that's going to work for any of the chains we have in this promise chain. So it's really nice, so much better than the callback hell, which actually I do not like, and you shouldn't too. Alright, so I promise I'm going to show you an even better way to write asynchronous JavaScript in AppSmith, and that is using async await. So I'm going to show you how to do this right now. You don't have to wait anymore. So let's create a new version of the call APIs function. So this is going to be call APIs 3, and this is going to be a function. Alright, so the first thing we need to do to use async await is to mark this function as an async function. So we need to write async right here, and then we can actually go into start writing asynchronous code. The first thing we want to do here is to run API 1 and then save the response to a variable. So I'm just going to do that right now. So this is going to be let's response, and the response would be the response from API1.run, and API1 needs some parameters to the call. So let's say text and my. Alright, this looks good, but we need to stop or pause execution of the code until API1 is done running, and then when this is done running and the response is saved in the res variable, we can then go on to the second step, run the code, and then move on to the next step. So we need a way to pause execution right here so that we're able to grab the variable of API1, store it in res, and then use it in the second line right here. So in order to pause the execution and wait for API1 to complete its call, so what we need to do is use the await keyword, AWAIT, and that's just all we need to do. So we can actually go in to use the response that has been saved in the res variable in the next step. So this is going to be API2 rather. So this is API2.run, and we can actually go use it in the text for API2. So this is going to be text res.body.text, and then we can add some new data. So let's say name is, and that's going to run the next step only after API1 is done running, and we're using the data right here. But we can actually also store the data of API2 into the res variable and use it in the next step. So in order to make sure we wait for API2 to complete its run and take that data, store it in res2, we also need to use the await keyword. So this is going to be res is equals to await. Alright, and then we can go use it in the next step. So this is going to be API2, API3 rather, and this will be .run, And for the data right here, this is going to be text, res.body.text, and we can say John. And the last thing we need to do is actually display the message in a pop-up. So let's also use the response from API 3 to display the message. So this is going to be res equals await. So we are storing the data back into the res variable, and then we can actually use it in the message step. So let's do a show alert res.body.text. All right, so this looks good, and we can go check this out by clicking on the run button. Oh, we have an error from API 2, so let's go back to fix that error we introduced earlier. All right, so let's head back to run this. All right, and you can see that we have the same response here saying my name is John. So you can see it's actually really easy to write asynchronous code in AppSmith using JavaScript. And in my opinion, this is the best way to do this because it's actually fewer codes compared to the promises example. As you can see right here, it's fewer code, and I think you also like it as well. All right, so this has been a short video on using promises in AppSmith. Previously, you had to write asynchronous code by using callback, and this was actually a really bad experience. Now, things are so much better because you can use a promise chain, as you saw in the V2 of call APIs, or you can use async await, as you saw in V3 of call APIs. And if you'd like to learn more about writing promises in AppSmith, I'm going to leave a link to the JavaScript promises doc right here from the documentation. I'll link it below so that you can click on it and go learn more about writing JavaScript promises in AppSmith. All right, I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, please do feel free to share them in the comment section and I'll take your questions. All right, that'll be all for today. Till I see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.